Namaste, namaste, and welcome to our Manipura Friday evening practice. So today we're going to be doing yoga for Manipura chakra, which is the yellow one here on the meditating person. It sits in the very center of the body, underneath the rib cage and above the navel, so somewhere in that general area. When you get a nervous flutter in your tummy, that is Manipura. So noted. It might be slightly higher up or lower down, depending on you. And tonight for our practice, we're going to need a bolster or something similar, like a rolled up blanket or a pile of cushions, and a block. And our first practice of the day will be sitting down. So coming to use whatever works for you, whether it's a bolster or a block or something similar. I'm going to kneel, but you could equally sit cross-legged if you prefer. And give yourself an opportunity to find whatever position you enjoy. Rest your hands, feel what's on the floor, and allow the body to lift away from the floor and the support. Close your eyes or gaze gently downwards and observe how you feel right now. Are you able to step away from the other things going on in your life and give yourself this time and space? Can you feel an easing across your forehead, across your shoulders, as you let go of some of those external responsibilities for the next wee while? Observe any area in the body that feels tight, tense, uneasy. Note that in your practice so that you can work around those areas, giving them kindness and attention. Note one area in the body that is quiet, peaceful, and at ease. Maybe it's more than one, I hope it is. And then bring your awareness to your breath. And we're going to rest the hands on the abdomen around about that Manipura space between the bottom of the rib cage and the navel. It's not exact, so it doesn't matter too much. And then here, with the weight and the warmth of your hands against your abdomen, your shoulders and arms relaxed, just take a few deeper breaths. Allow the belly muscles to relax completely as you inhale, and then as you exhale, gently draw them in. As you inhale, that relaxing allows the diaphragm to expand more. You can breathe more deeply in. And as you exhale, those gentle contractions allow you to press more air out of the lungs. And even just breathing in this way is really lovely for balancing Manipura chakra with some of those very active times we have in our lives. Or if you've been a bit lethargic, it can be good for stimulating it and bringing you back to a sense of purpose. When you're ready, you can release the arms down. Just bring your chin towards your chest, allowing your breath to fall in its natural rhythm. Take a little roll of the right ear towards the right shoulder, chin back towards the chest, and left ear to left shoulder, and chin to chest, a little bit side to side. Just feeling your way in this movement. Perhaps you can feel some of those things that you've carried with you during the day, easing with this gentle movement. If you'd like to, you can roll your head in circles. Just take care to lift your chin rather than dropping the head back behind you. And And if you get a lot of grinding or crunching, then make your movement smaller or adjust so that you get less of that. When you're ready, you can roll in the opposite direction if you're doing circles. And the next time your chin comes to your chest, bringing your head back to center and opening your eyes if you've had them closed. Awesome sauce. Give your shoulders a little bit of a wriggle. We're going to start this practice today with Kapalabhati. We've already started the practice, but we're going to do Kapalabhati next. And so Kapalabhati is a stomach pumping breath. And I will teach this to you as if you've never done it before, but if you are familiar, then please feel free to progress in your own practice. So we'll take the hands again to this center space on the body where our Manipura chakra is. And we're going to contract the muscles of the abdomen quite forcefully and allow that to press air out of the lungs with force as well, like this. Okay, so we'll try it this way. If it doesn't work for you, that's okay. So you don't really need to breathe out that much. You more contract with your tummy muscles and relax completely as you breathe in. And rest again. So important to be able to let your belly be its Buddha belly. And that's important in yoga anyway, because otherwise we can't back bend if we're too tight in the front of the body. But particularly for Manipura chakra, some people are very tight here, some people are very loose here, and we're trying to get that balance of being able to be both contained and less contained, but also balance between the two. So now we're going to do that same breath, but imagine that we're blowing candles out on a cake. So you'll still do the contraction, but with a more forceful exhalation. So cake full of candles in front of you. Take a breath in, nice and relaxed in the belly, and then contracting to blow out. And rest. Important to mention here is that that contraction has to come in as the breath goes out. Some people find that their tummies project outwards as they breathe outwards, and they have to sniff to bring the tummies in. So if that is happening to you, rest out of this practice, take some long deep breaths, come back and try again on a different day, and with practice you'll get it. And now those of you who'd like to, you can try this Kapalabhati, but with the mouth closed and breathing only out through the nose. Same process, contracting and exhaling as if you were exhaling forcefully. We'll do a few together. See if you can go a bit quicker. And then slow it down to stop. And rest. If you're comfortable with your hands here, you can leave them here or you can rest them down. Just take a moment to close the eyes and feel that warmth in the center of your body spreading out into the rest of the body as well. That heat, Manipura, is associated with the element of fire. And in yoga, we call this inner fire Agni, the digestive fire. And all of yoga is about balancing the digestive fire. And Manipura chakra, we try to energize it, to make it burn brighter, hotter, makes digestion much easier as well. So Kapalabhati is great for that. And taking a moment afterwards just to let everything settle is good too. If you find that that heat we raise in the body becomes overwhelming, it's like a flush, then allow it to happen. Don't try to quash it, just allow the heat to radiate out into every extremity, and it can shoot out the head and out the feet as well, if you like. Okay, so we are going to come up into standing for a little bit of dynamic practice now that we've done our Kapalabhati. And Kapalabhati is usually followed by a balancing practice of alternate nostril breathing, so that you have stimulating and balancing. But when we're doing a Manipura practice, we don't need to balance it out because it's all about galvanizing that energy. So, but if you feel you need to do alternate nostril breathing later, you can. So on your feet, we've got the feet nice and wide apart. We're going to keep the feet very firmly into the ground today. So a little bounce into the knees to feel that grounding sensation in the feet. And then keeping the feet nice and still, gently twisting from side to side. And today we want to, if you really need to free your feet to pivot on your toes, you absolutely can. But if you can do this without doing that, doing Kati Chakrasana without freeing the feet, then we get that twisting sensation across the torso a little bit more pronounced. And of course, that is great for our Manipura chakra. Allow the shoulders and arms to be nice and relaxed. And allow the hands to tap the body around about that center space of the body. So bottom of the rib cage behind you and across the abdomen somewhere in front of you. Above the navel, below the ribs, if you can. As you do this, take your awareness to that space underneath the rib cage and see if you can tap into the sensation that you get from doing this practice. That sort of twist and torque, but also that flowing dynamic movement that allows the energy to move in this area of the body. When you're ready, you can allow your hips to be a little bit more still, so really press into your feet and make your twist from a bit higher up the back, higher up the body, around about your waist. So instead of letting your hips move, you can even keep your head centered if that's comfortable, and that also further stimulates that feeling of moving this really center space in the body. And then when you're ready, you can allow your movement to become smaller and smaller until you're back to standing steady. Fantastic stuff. So a lot of our practice is dynamic for Manipura, just as it was last week for our sacral chakra. And it is to do with movement across the central space, so forward and backward bending, side bending, twisting, all of these are good for this area. So we're going to do a little warm up of the shoulders, rolling the shoulders backwards and forwards. And in the opposite direction. And then we'll do a little forward and backward bending in our standing pose. So soften the knees, elbows together in front of the body or towards each other in front of the body. As you breathe in, firm the belly, open your chest to lift that space under the rib cage. As you breathe out, round through the back, draw the chin towards the chest, elbows in, scoop the belly in. Breathing in, opening and lengthening the front of the body, buttocks firm as well as belly muscles a little lifted. As you exhale, round the opposite way. So make your movement really flowing with your breath, as expansive and, what's the word, as big as you want it to be. And allow that sense of connection with the sensation in the center of the body, so that you can really feel the effect of your practice as you're doing it, as well as afterwards. Our chakras go through the body, the center ones from 2 to 6 go through the body. So they are on the back of the body as well as the front of the body. Let's do one more breath in here. And then standing tall, relax the arms down to the side. Do another little wiggle. And here we can roll the shoulders one and then the other. And you get that twisting across the center of the body as well. One shoulder, then the other. And we'll go the opposite way, one shoulder, then the other. Fantastic stuff. Okay, so I'm going to lose my jumper at this point because I've warmed up. I hope that you are warming up too. I hope you're not too warm just yet. We've got a bit more warming to go. And then we'll warm up the sides of the body a little bit with a bit more shoulder action. So softness in the knees, firmness in the center, and soft in the right elbow to begin with, making big shoulder circles with this elbow, with this arm rather, not just the elbow, the whole arm. When you're ready, you can allow the rest of the body to move with your shoulder movement. So here, with this center space, active, not gripping, but active, allow the body to move as much as feels good. The idea being to allow all directions of the body to move. So not just side bending, twisting forwards and backwards, but spiraling, rotating, lengthening. We'll do one more in this direction. And then we'll go the opposite way. So starting quite small with those movements so you can feel that your shoulder's okay. And when you feel like you're ready, you can put the rest of the body into that movement as much as feels comfortable. And you might make a more subtle movement, that's okay. You might feel that everything is moving here, the torso, the hips, the feet, the legs, the arms, the neck. It's not really just one part of the body, but we're focused on that space underneath the rib cage. Let's do one more in this direction. When you're ready, resting the right arm to the side, just observing the difference between the two sides and the effect of working that way across the center of the body. Soft in the knees, soft in the left elbow, same thing on the other side, starting with just some standard circling of the arm. Then when you're ready, allowing the body to move with your movement, to respond to it in any way that feels natural. The feet really firm, that center containment working, just a little lift in the belly muscles there. And we'll do one more in this direction. And then when you're ready, just starting small, going in the opposite direction. In your own time, allowing the rest of the body to respond as you move. You might notice that there is one way that's more natural than the other. See if you can support, particularly when it feels more awkward, with a little extra lift in the buttocks perhaps, or the feet a little bit more active, or the belly muscles. Let's do one more in this direction. Otherwise I'll get quite dizzy. There we are, resting the arms down to the side, observing the effect of your practice. Perhaps you can feel that expanse of warmth moving into the rest of the body, perhaps particularly into the hands and the feet. Who knows? It could be different for you at your end, but that's where I'm feeling it right now. Okay, so we've done a little bit of twisting, We've opened up the sides of the body a touch, but we're going to do just a little bit more side bending. So here, maybe with the feet just a touch closer together, a little softness in the knees. We're going to reach the arms wide and draw the shoulder blades towards each other, so really lengthening into the arms. Lift in the center of the body. We're going to reach the right arm across the belly and the left arm over to the right side, and then come back to the center and go in the opposite direction. Very good. So breathing in as you come up and out as you go over to the right. Breathing in as you come back to center and out as you go over to the left. Make your breath in any rhythm and your movement to match your breath. And try to have that sensation of you're drawing a circle around the body. You're drawing the sun, hopefully, that's in the center of the body, but just expanding it out around you as well. Very good. Move with your breath. Feel that space underneath the rib cage. Feel that gentle containment across the abdomen. And we'll do one more to each side. And finish by standing tall, widening the arms, and then releasing the hands down to the side. And here, you might just need a little wriggle of the shoulders or a little wriggle of the neck or the head, whatever helps you to release the sense of effort from our practice so far. Very good. Okie dokie. So normally I would recommend sun salutations as a really good way to stimulate not only Manipura chakra, but to work with all the chakras, especially Manipura because of the sun element that is associated with this part of the body. But at this time of the night, sun salutations are not always quite so helpful. So instead, we're going to do a little bit of limbering lying down and then come back onto our feet again. So we've done lots of lovely stuff for the center of the body. I just want to do a little bit for the legs lying on the floor. So come to lying down on your back and bringing your knees into your chest. Oh, that feels so good after standing up for most of the day. And we're going to have the hands onto the knees and just move the knees around in a circle. And you get that sense of closing that space across the body and then opening it again, that space in the center, sorry, of the body, opening it again. And we are also kind of ironing out or stimulating or rocking across the back of the chakra as we move like this. Circle your knees in the opposite direction as well. And then coming to the center, allow your arms to rest down to your sides. Engage across the belly muscles and then just circle one leg and then the other. So you're extending one leg away from you as you draw the opposite knee in. The knees are making circles, so the hips are traveling around in a circle as well. But you can feel the engagement across the center space of the body. Nice and relaxed in the arms, the shoulders, and the head. When you're ready, you can go the opposite direction. A little bit of rocking and rolling is always nice. And then when you're ready, you can bring your knees back to the center. Just hug them momentarily and then let the feet come down one at a time to the floor. We're going to leave the knees quite far apart to begin with, arms out to the sides, and then firm in the belly muscles, allow the knees to come down to the right side a little, back to the center and over to the left, a little sway from side to side. And you may feel that you're able to bring your knees a little further towards the floor as you warm through the body. but we are not aiming for a spinal twist here. It's just a limber to begin with. The next time your knees go to your left, when you bring them to center, bring them to stillness. We're going to move the feet towards each other and the knees towards each other, and then firm in your center space, again rocking from side to side. But this time, as your knees go to the right, the left foot comes off the floor. And as your knees go to the left, the right foot comes off the floor. So a little side to side action. Nice and firm in the center of the body. If this doesn't suit you with the knees together, feel free to go back to doing it with the knees apart. Some people's bodies don't like this quite so much. This is a little bit more twisty through the torso, a little bit less twisty through the pelvis. Very good. Let's do one more to each side. And then coming back to the center, we're going to take the feet again, just a little bit apart, elbows close to the upper body, elbows bent, arms close to the upper body, elbows bent, and press back into the floor with the upper arms, the elbows, the shoulders, and the head. Press into the feet to lift the hips up and gently lower down. Keep engaged in the upper body and then rolling up and down with the hips, finding that space underneath the rib cage and also at the back of the body as you roll through the spine. We'll do one more up and down, and then we're going to lift and hula hoop. So this time we're really engaging through the shoulders and arms, lifting the hips, and with the hips up, just doing a little hula hooping action, doing that as much as feels comfortable. So if it's not so comfortable, you can go back to rolling up and down. We're going to change direction just now anyway, to go in the opposite direction. Very good. Feeling the engagement behind the body as well. And then coming to center, rolling all the way down. And then gently bringing the knees towards you and lengthening the legs up towards the ceiling. Roll through the wrists and the ankles as you reach the arms and feet towards the sky above you. Soft knees here. Maybe wave your soles of feet and palms of hands towards the ceiling as well. Knees into your chest. Head towards your knees, and then gently rocking backwards and forwards through the length of the spine. Shoulder blades to sitting bones. And if you can, balance on your sitting bones and then rock back. And when you come up, balance, but strike another shape. Rocking back, coming up to balance and rocking back, coming up. Any old shape will do. Woo! Just doing a few more of these. And if you don't like rocking backwards and forwards, feel free to roll to one side and come up into sitting instead. And this time, balancing on your sitting bones and letting your feet come to the floor. Very good. So we're going to do a variation of boat pose, Navasana, and strength poses are very much associated with the Manipura chakra, as it is the powerhouse of strength in the body. So we use Manipura chakra especially for posture work that requires courage and fortitude. And I would say that boat pose is one of those that requires fortitude. So for boat pose, we start on our sitting bones, or the balancing part of the seat that we've just come up to all of those times. And we're going to hold around the backs of the knees, the backs of the thighs, and lengthen the torso, draw the shoulder blades down, and just open the space between the torso and the thighs into a deep V, or a shallow V, as the case may be. As you lean back, you can maybe feel that your toe tips are ready to leave the floor. So engaging the center of the body, really using those tummy muscles, lifting one foot up and then the other, the knees are bent. The knees can be apart or together as you choose. And we're using the arms for support here. So draw the shoulder blades towards each other to lift your chest, lengthen through to the crown of the head, ensure the tummy muscles are engaged. And when you're ready, you can release the feet down, 1 and 2. Just slide the feet slightly forward and drape yourself forward over your legs. If you prefer to have the knees closer towards you, you can, of course. Allow the back of the neck to gently lengthen. Take a couple of deep breaths. Maybe you can feel the heat in your center. Maybe you can't, and that's okay too. Okay, so let's try boat pose round 2. So if you enjoyed round 1, but you felt that was challenging enough, stick with that variation. For round 2, we sit tall, lean back, draw ourselves to that point of balance where the toe tips are just on the floor, lifting one foot and then the other, knees stay bent, firm in the belly muscles, let go of one hand and then the other. And then holding and breathing, shoulder blades come down. There's that real lift and length through the whole torso, not rounding in the back. Breathe deeply. And when you're ready, 1 foot down, 2 feet down, feet to the floor, just gently relaxing forward over the legs. And it's nice here, if you can, to allow a really nice releasing breath. So deep breath in, breathing out through the mouth. You can do that maybe one more time, and you can feel the space of your Manipura chakra in your back, in the back body. Letting go of any effort and that it's made to hold you in boat pose. Because whilst we focus on our belly muscles in boat pose, actually the back of the body is doing a tremendous amount of work. So that was boat pose stage 2, and that might be the perfect place for you, or you might prefer boat pose stage 1, but I will show you boat pose stage 3 for anyone who would like to join. So sitting tall, holding the backs of the knees, lengthening back, feeling that lift and that engagement in the center of the body. The toe tips are floating off the floor, 1 foot up, 2 feet up, and then from here, lengthening your legs as much as feels comfortable. Have to balance, 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 and then releasing the hands. And you want to keep the space between your torso and your thighs quite close towards each other. Really firm in the belly, firm in that space between the shoulder blades. Breathe deeply, smile if you can. And when you're ready, gather your knees in, feet to the floor, release the feet slightly further forward. Lean forward, drape yourself over your legs. A couple of deep breaths here. And one of the really nice ways to also release from boat pose is to do an up plank. So I'm just going to do this sideways on. You can do this with the fingertips pointing forwards or the fingertips pointing out to the side or backwards, whatever suits your shoulders. But I would recommend trying each variation to see what suits you best. So let's try fingertips pointing forwards first. This suits people who perhaps need a bit more stability in the shoulders to help. Roll the shoulder blades towards each other, lifting your chest, point your toes towards the floor, firm the belly and the buttocks and lift the hips up and gently release down. And now you can try with your fingertips pointing backwards. I personally don't like fingertips out to the side, but if it is what suits you, then you can do it. So this suits people who are a little bit more open in the front of the body, whose shoulders are perhaps a little bit more mobile. Roll the shoulder blades towards each other, lift the chest, point the toes towards the floor, firm belly and buttocks, lift the hips up, deep breath in, and as you breathe out, releasing all the way down. Very good. So from here, we're going to roll onto our tummies and just allow all of the effort that we've made to release. So pillow out of the hands, either forehead down or turning the head to one side, toes together, heels apart, and you can rock your hips from one side to the other if that feels comfortable, or you can just rest in the center in stillness, which we will all do anyway, for a couple of deep breaths. And again, as you're breathing, feel that space around the Manipura chakra and letting go as you breathe deeply. From here, we're going to come into Sphinx pose. So taking your elbows underneath your shoulders, or slightly further forward if you like, bringing the thighs towards each other a touch. And we want to press the pubic bone down to lengthen the low back, drawing the shoulder blades towards each other at the same time. And see if you can nestle the bottom of the rib cage towards the floor, maybe taking your elbows further forward to do that, whilst you press down into the hands and press down into the elbows. Breathe deeply here. It's a really gentle way to stimulate that space underneath the ribs. If you find it's pinching in your low back, engage your buttock muscles a little bit more, press your pubic bone down and support with your arms as well as your legs. You don't need to look up or open the chest. If you can, just keeping your head so that the neck is in line with the spine. Maybe looking between the hands. And when you're ready, very gently taking weight onto the hands to widen the elbows, release yourself down so that you can make a pillow out of the hands or turn the head to one side, toes towards each other, heels apart, a gentle rock from side to side. A few deep breaths. And we're going to come into hands and knees or into kneeling if you want to watch what's happening next. So we're going to do some waving vinyasas. We're going to start from the knees. This is really good practice for the Manipura chakra. It's quite strong in some ways. It's a little bit like the middle of a sun salutation. So from hands and knees, maybe a little bit further forward with the hands or further back with the knees than the normal square position. Tuck your toes under and let your buttocks come back towards your heels. And then from here, looking down, press off the toes to round through the spine. Look back towards your knees as you draw your hips forward and your shoulders forward. Firm your buttocks. Draw the shoulder blades together towards each other to open your chest. Soft in the elbows as well. Little supported up dog here. And then press into the hands. Lift the body away from the floor, rounding through the spine, scooping the belly in, and bringing the hips back towards the heels again. Let's do this 2 more times. Pressing off the toes to round through the spine. As the shoulders come forward, draw the shoulder blades towards each other, open the chest, soft elbows, shoulders down, and then lift the body away from the floor, making space, rounding through the spine to draw the hips back towards the heels again. 1 more time forwards, pressing off the toes, rounding, and then opening the front of the body. Strong in your center, and then rounding the opposite way to find yourself in that crouching kind of puppy dog position, almost a child's pose, almost a bent knee, downward facing dog. From here, we're going to come into downward dog. So pressing the chest towards the thighs, peel the knees up off the floor, and then lengthen through the legs just a little. Step your feet to wherever is comfortable and do a little paddling through your dog, lifting your tailbone nice and high, pressing your chest towards your thighs, and really pressing the feet and the hands into the floor as well. If you want to, you can gently turn the head from one side to the other. That's nice and releasing from the neck. And just wiggling through the backs of the knees, or perhaps bending both knees and wiggling the hips from side to side. That's also lovely too. From here, you're going to walk your feet all the way towards your hands.
Stand in a forward bend, holding elbow to elbow or draping the backs of the hands towards the floor, soft in the knees so that you can do a little sway from one side to the other with the upper body. And then when you're ready, coming to center, and you can do one of two things. You can round up to standing, which you might enjoy, particularly if you're Pilates based, or you can come up to center by lifting the chest, lifting the arms, softening the knees, and pressing tall. And by center, I mean standing, of course. Release the hands to the center of the chest so that you're in a standing pose. I need to adjust my clothing. We wriggled quite a lot, and that is the way of it. Okay, so we are ready for a little standing flow, and we're going to see how we go here. So we're going to, I'll talk you through it. Let's not worry too much about it. I'm in fact going to start at this end, so I can step back with my right foot first and still be facing you guys. Okay, so standing in Tadasana, feet underneath the hips, turning the palms of the hands forward, draw the shoulder blades towards each other, firm in your center, a little lift in the buttocks, breathe in here, and breathe out here. Then let your breath find its own rhythm. We're going to raise the arms up over the head at the same time, take the weight onto the left foot and raise the knee in front of you. And then from this balancing pose, reach the hands forward, pivot from your hip and reach your right leg back to step as far back as feels comfortable, reaching the hands forward so you make a kind of diagonal shape here. Front knee is bent. Press into the left knee to lift the torso upwards so you're upright and in warrior one pose. Everyone on the screen is doing well. Very good. Okay. So here we're going to hold warrior one. We want to make sure you can see the big toe of your left foot. And if you need to, you can release your arms for a moment just to check that your feet are hip width apart. You haven't stepped the right foot behind the left foot. Then arms go up, shoulders come down, tuck your tailbone under slightly and lift in your belly muscles. Let's take a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Then lengthen your left leg as you breathe in, and as you breathe out, fold forward from your hips, reach your hands away from you, lift your belly in as if you were trying to pass something to someone very far away. And if that's comfortable, you can hold there, or you can fold a little deeper down if you prefer. If you need to soften your knees ever so slightly, then feel free to do that to hold pyramid pose. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Then we're going to bend the front knee again, press into the left leg to bring us up to standing, and then cartwheel the arms to the long side of the mat. Just adjust your back leg if you need to bring your hips round a little bit as we reach the arms wide. And then from here, we're going to turn the left toes in as well. So we're all facing the long side of the mat, toes pointing forward, arms out, long arms, long legs. Okay, so here we're going to do a little flow. We've done this before last term, but it's been a little while. So the toes will point towards the left. We're going to come onto the ball of the right foot, bending the left knee, press the right hand across the body as we reach the left hand behind us for a little revolving side angle pose, and then cartwheel the arms back to the center to open the feet wide and find goddess pose. We'll go through it slowly a couple of times. So we're lengthening arms and legs, toes point to the left. We come onto the, bend the right knee, no, left knee, come onto the ball of the right foot, press the right hand across the body, reach the left hand behind you, really firm in the legs in the center of the body, and then cartwheel the hands back to the long side of the mat, turning the toes out, bending arms and elbows, goddess pose. Smashing stuff. Let's do it one more time. Long arms and legs, turn the feet to the left.
Bend the left knee, come onto the ball of the right foot, press the right hand across the body, reach the left hand behind you, and then cartwheel the hands back to the center, turning the toes out, come into goddess pose. Very good. So in our goddess pose, we're going to find that side bending that we did earlier. So you can sink a little lower down if you want to, but it's quite hard to hold for a long period of time. So take a goddess pose that feels good to you. And we're going to reach the arms wide, reach the left arm over to the right arm over to the left, and then come back to the center and reach in the opposite direction. Very firm in this belly. Coming back to the center, we're going to do 2 more to each side. Back to the center, reaching over to the left. Back to the center, reaching to the right. Very good. Back to the center, reaching to the left. And then coming back to the center, lengthening arms and legs. We're going to turn the toes to point forward and just lengthen into a standing forward bend with the knees a little soft if you need to, and just gently let go of any effort in the back of the shoulders, the back of the neck. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Then turn your toes towards the right-hand side. Take your your hands either side of your right foot and step your right foot back into downward facing dog next to your left foot. Give your down dog a little bit of a paddle. And here we're going to do a couple of waving vinyasas. So you can either do it from the knees or you can do it from downward facing dog. As I've demonstrated from the knees already, I'm going to do it from down dog. So scoop the belly in, drop hips towards the heels, press off the toes to round through the spine, look back towards your knees or feet until your shoulders are over your hands, and then open your chest. Draw the elbows back and down, firm belly, firm buttocks, soft elbows and knees. Pressing up through plank or hands and knees, rounding through the spine and coming back into down dog or hands and knees. Let's do one more like that. Dropping hips to heels, round through the spine, pressing off the toes, opening the chest, soften the elbows, firm in your core and your buttocks. And then either bending the knees or coming through hands and knees or plank pose back to downward facing dog. Take a moment here to paddle in your dog. And then when you're ready, you can walk your feet all the way to your hands to stand in a forward bend. Take a moment. When you're ready, inhale to come up, whichever way you prefer. And exhale the hands to the center of the chest. And you should be at the other end of your mat, ready to do the left-hand side. Awesome sauce. Okay, so same thing with the left. You're going to turn the palms forward, standing tall in Tadasana. And just allow your breath to find a natural rhythm. Feel the support of all of the things that are normally switched on. Take your weight onto your right leg. Lift your arms up and lift your left knee up. From this standing balance, step back with the left foot as far as it goes, hinging from your hips to reach the hands forward. So you're in a kind of diagonal warrior. Press into the right foot to bring your body upright into warrior one. Here, you can, of course, drop your arms for a moment to check that your right knee is in the right place so you can see your right big toe, and to check that the feet are hip width apart. You haven't got one behind the other. Makes it very hard to balance. Then reach the arms up again, firm in the belly, dropping the shoulders down to open the chest, maybe tucking the tailbone under ever so slightly. Press into your feet. Take another deep breath in. And a deep breath out. And we're going to lengthen the front leg, the right leg, and fold forward from the hips as we reach the hands away from you as far as possible, like you're reaching to someone ahead. Now here, if you wish to, you can leave the hands onto the hips, you can leave the hands out, or you can fold over your front leg. If you need to, soften your knees ever so slightly, and certainly if you're prone to hyperextension, a little softness in the knees is good here. But try to keep your feet flat on the ground. Take a deep breath in
And a deep breath out. And then bend your front knee, press into the front knee as you bring the body back up to warrior one. And we're going to just reach the arms wide and adjust your back leg so that you can bring yourself to the long side of the mat for warrior two. Aces. And then from there, I'm going to turn in the right foot. So both feet are pointing towards the long side of the mat, making sure that you don't have like one turned in more than the other. Arms nice and wide. And we'll do our little flow of revolving side angle twist to goddess pose. So here, from here, we turn the toes to the right, bend the right knee, come onto the ball of the left foot, press the left hand across the body, reach the right hand behind you, and then firm in the feet in the center, cartwheel your hands back to the center, turning the feet out, bending knees, bending elbows. Goddess pose. Lengthen arms and legs. Turn your feet to the right. Bend the right knee, come onto the ball of the left foot, press the left hand across the body, reaching the right hand behind you, and then cartwheel through the arms to bring yourself back to the long side of the mat, turning the toes out, bending knees and elbows. Reaching the arms and legs long, turn your feet to the right one more time, bending your front knee, your right knee, come onto the ball of the left foot, reach the left hand across the body, nice and firm in the body, in the center of the body, cartwheeling the arms, turning to the long side of the mat, coming into goddess pose. And then here in goddess pose, we did side bending last time. We're going to do a little twisting here. So keeping the knees nice and open, the elbows back, to keep the chest nice and open, firm in the center of the body, just gently twisting from one side to the other. It's quite a subtle movement. There isn't as much twist when you have the body in the shape as you perhaps normally enjoy. We'll do one more to each side. Coming back to the center, lengthen arms and legs, turn the palms forward, no, turn the feet forward, and then we're just going to lengthen forward into a standing forward bend. Soften the knees as much as you feel you need to. You can gently sway the upper body from side to side if it feels good to do that. And then when you're ready, we're going to turn the feet to the left and frame the left foot with the hands so that you can step the left foot back to the right foot, or even a little further back than that, coming into your downward facing dog. Wiggle through your down dog. And then taking two waving vinyasas, either from the hands and knees or from downward dog. Drop the buttocks towards the heels. Press off the toes to round through the spine. Look back towards your knees or your feet. When your shoulders come over your hands, soften the elbows, draw the shoulder blades together, open your chest, firm buttocks, firm belly. Press back through a rounded spine into down dog or hands and knees. And then one more time, buttocks to heels, press off the toes, round forward, opening your chest, firming the buttocks, and then rounding back the opposite way. And then here, taking the knees to the floor to come into child's pose, either with the knees wide, forehead to the floor, or if you can, with the knees together and forehead to the floor, or onto the backs of the arms. If you have your knees together, you have the opportunity of breathing deeply here and feeling the body press against the thighs as you inhale, which has that sensation of expanding the space in the back of the body and giving you the opportunity to breathe against your body in the front of the body. I haven't explained it very well, but hopefully you can feel what's happening with your breath. When you're ready, bring yourself up to kneeling. I'm going to face you guys now so that we can do a little revolving spinal twist. So here we're sitting on the
maybe you're not kneeling, it's okay if you're not, but if you are, you can flick your heels to the right side and then sit your buttocks down just behind your heels and cross your right leg over your left leg. Now, my left knee doesn't like this position because it turns my hip in a way that's uncomfortable. And if that's true for you, or if you're very off balance, if you feel that your right hip is very far away from the floor, you can lengthen your left leg out in front of you, and that will still have the right leg crossed over the left, but easier to sit in a centered way. And here we're going to do a little revolving twist. So we want to lift the belly out of the way here. So draw your muscles inwards and upwards, sitting really tall, and wrap your left hand, wrist, forearm, or elbow around the right thigh and draw it towards you. As you do that, you feel the torso is already revolving into this twist a little. And then inhale your right arm up. And as you exhale, place that hand down behind you and use it to press you forward and up to give you lift, to support the upwardness of the spine. Upwardness, definitely a word. Okay, so from here, the parts of the body that are on the ground are grounding and supporting. We're going to lift away from them as we breathe in. And as you breathe out, turn to the right as much as feels comfortable, maybe even turning the head towards the right shoulder. Make sure the shoulders are relaxing down, the shoulder blades moving towards each other, the belly muscles just lifted enough to create a little space for this movement. And then hold for 5 deep breaths. Closing your eyes or gazing gently downward. It's pretty hard to breathe really deeply in this position because of the closed nature of the bottom of the rib cage, but do your best. And then when you're ready, you can turn your head to the front, release the hands, unwind your spine, turn a little to the opposite side and back to the center. Now, if you happen to be in this position, you can do a quick revolution here, and I'll show you how to go to the other side. But if you're not, don't worry about it. So if you've got your legs tucked under, right leg over left, you're going to turn to the left, place your hands down behind you, leave your feet where they are, lift your hips and turn all the way around to sit in the opposite direction, or the opposite version of the legs when you come back to sitting down. And if that doesn't work, or if it hasn't worked, or if you've had your legs extended, then simply extending your right leg and crossing the left leg over the right leg, whichever of these feels most comfortable to you. Now on this side, my legs feel quite comfortable in this different version, so that's what I'm going to do on this side. You don't have to do the same thing on both sides of the body. The two sides of the body express themselves quite individually, and whilst we move towards balance, we should allow them to be individual in their own way, if they are. So that's all good. We're going to press the feet down, lift tall, lifting the belly muscles in, wrapping the right hand, wrist, forearm or elbow around the left thigh and drawing it towards us, and feeling that already the torso is quite turned in towards this left side. Then pressing down again, feeling that lift again, reaching the left arm up, over and placing it down behind you to press into the fingers to prop you right upright. Press into the palm of the hand if you've got longer hands, longer arms rather. And then here again, feeling that sense of lift as you inhale, as you exhale, turn to the left, maybe even turn the head towards the left shoulder. Draw the shoulder blades towards each other, relax the shoulders down, don't hunch them up towards the ears. Closing your eyes or gazing gently downward and taking 5 deeper breaths here. When you're ready, you can turn to the front with your head, release your hands, unwind your spine, turn a little to the opposite side and back to the center. Very good. You can uncross your legs as well. And we're going to do a little supported fish pose as we wind down towards relaxation. So we're going to do some releasing postures as well, but a supported fish pose is our next pose. So for this, you need a rolled up blanket or a bolster for preference, or a nice pile of cushions and a block. So if you're using cushions, you can put one cushion on top of the other and then one cushion in front, lie your blanket across it and then recline on this. If you've got your bolster and a block, we're going to place the block down on the floor. Make sure, if you've got a buckwheat bolster, that you shake it from the handle end. So the handle end will be a little bit more narrow than the other end of the bolster. And we're going to place the bolster, the thick end, opposite of the handle end, on top of the block. And then we're going to recline over this narrow end here. So setting yourself up with some kind of lift. And even if it's just a rolled blanket, you will still get that sense of open. It's a little bit more heart center oriented there, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter as long as you have a supported spine. And then we're going to bring our buttocks and the lower back right up against this bolster or whatever support we have. And then allow yourself to recline over it. Oh, it feels tremendous. The feet can stay on the floor with the knees bent to begin with. And you can allow the arms to rest away from the body with the palms turned upwards. And make sure it's comfortable. So if you need a little bit more lift underneath your head or perhaps underneath your neck, feel free to give yourself that, because we want this pose to feel restorative and relaxing and supportive, and not something that we're stretched into or only just able to hold. You may be aware of that sense of space here underneath the rib cage and the sense of support in the back of the body in the same place. And that means that we are able to release the effort of holding our center, holding that core together, that strength, and allow a softness to pervade this area and relaxation to ripple out from there. Allow the sides of the body to drape around your support. And if you want to, you can try extending your legs to be long. And if that feels too bendy in your low back, just bend your knees back in and bring your feet to the floor. No problem at all. Take a moment in the position that you've chosen, taking a few deeper breaths. Soften the features of your face, your mouth and tongue and jaw. Soften the arms and the legs, the shoulders and the chest, the belly and the back. We're going to be here for a couple of minutes, so enjoy this stillness, this quiet, this release.
after your next exhalation, preparing to move. If your feet are extended, your legs are extended, point your toes up towards the ceiling and then slide your feet in one at a time. A little firmness across your belly to be able to roll to one side, gently dismounting. We need to move the support out of the way so that we can roll back onto our back. So doing any shimmering that you need to arrange that. And as you roll onto your back, allow your spine to find this more neutral shape against the floor. The soles of the feet heavy, the backs of the arms heavy, the back of the head heavy. And maybe gently turning the nose from one side to the other. Feel the effect of your practice. And hopefully that has felt cooling in the way that our more dynamic and strength practice has felt warming. When you're ready, you can roll to one side and come up into sitting. And I'll show you what we're going to do next with our exciting restorative practice today. So the support that you've just had, you're going to line up next to your right hip so that your right knee points out in front of your hip and your left knee points out towards the left, and the bolster or pile of cushions or whatever it might be is to the right hand side of your body. If you need this extra block, it will be around. So here we've got our legs in a deer pose there or thereabouts. It's okay to have the left hip off the floor. It doesn't need to be grounded for this. But if you're more centered, that's okay too. And we're just gently going to turn to the right towards the bolster. Now I find that on this side, if I turn all the way to the right, it just feels a little bit too much twisty for me. So I can bring my bolster forward a little bit. So as I turn, I'm more diagonal than lateral, if that makes sense. So reaching your hands either side of your support, little lift in the belly here to gently sway the upper body from one side to the other. And as we do this, we create a little wiggle in the low back and across the hips to find a bit of space. When you found that space, you can recline, rest yourself over your support. So if you feel that you haven't got enough support, please lift it with whatever you need so that you can feel a sense of being able to let go of the upper body and the head down into the support. And here, if it feels really super comfortable, you can turn your head to the right to look behind you. I find that's not so comfy on this side, but my body likes twisting leftwards less. So if you're in this position and it feels super comfortable, you can think about extending your legs to be longer, still with soft knees perhaps. It's called the scissors when you've got the legs extended, or a twisted deer when you've got the legs bent. Who knows? It's not necessary. So here we're just draping ourselves, allowing the bolster or the support to carry the upper body, feeling that gentle twist across the torso, releasing as much effort as it's possible, taking some deeper breaths. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable. If it's not comfortable, please don't hold this just because it's in the class. You can come out, reclining spinal twist will be very good instead. Try to release as much effort as you can from your face and your shoulders. Feel that space across the center of the body as you breathe deeply. When you're ready, you can bend your knees if they've been lengthened. Prepare to move by drawing your belly muscles in a touch, pressing into the hands to bring yourself into a center position. And here you can just turn on your buttocks and allow yourself to drape over your knees a little bit. So just affording your spine a little different shape, more neutral shape, a more lateral shape. To go to the other side, if you've got your support set up here, all you need to do is turn to face in the other direction. But because I'm teaching to the camera, I'm going to turn my support in the other direction. So we're going to end up with the left hip up against the support, be it bolster or cushions or otherwise, and the knees bent with the right knee pointing out towards the right side, the left knee pointing forward. Here, you might feel more centered on this side or less so. It's okay, as long as it feels comfortable like this. And then turning towards the support, maybe moving it slightly forwards if it doesn't feel so good to turn all the way to the side. Hands either side of the support for a little lean in that direction and sway of the chest from side to side. Oh, excuse me. That snaking allows us to release tension. And we do that by contracting and then lengthening the muscles. So a muscle relaxes into length much better if you contract it immediately beforehand. So that's what we're doing here. Doing a little gentle contract and release, not much, just a touch. When you're ready, you can release your torso down onto your bolster. I need mine a little closer to me, or your support, and you can have your head facing forwards, or if it's comfortable, you can turn your head for it to face backwards. But do check that whatever position you choose is really comfortable so that you can let go into that support and surrender your weight downwards. And then if this feels super comfortable, extending the legs to be a little bit longer, you can soften the knees a bit so that the legs are relaxed, but just finding out if that suits you. If it doesn't, then just keep the knees bent, no problem at all. Whatever position you find yourself in, let go of the effort across the shoulders, across the center of the abdomen, particularly across the face, the jaw. Allow yourself to close the eyes or gaze at one spot ahead, maybe half closing the eyes. And take a few deeper breaths. There's no need to contain that center space unless you feel that you must. You can relax the belly muscles. Feel the body opening gently, surrendering into this unusual shape. After your next exhalation, just gently preparing to move, bending the knees if the legs have been extended, gathering a little bit of firmness across the belly, pressing into the hands to peel your body slowly up to sitting. And then here we're going to find a forward bending pose. So allowing your knees to be bent
and placing cushions, or if you've got one, your bolster or a rolled up blanket underneath the knees. And you can lift the flesh of the buttocks gently backwards so you get that very firm feeling of the sitting bones on the floor. The heels have to be on the floor as well for grounding. If you've got a block handy, then it's nice to have, just in case. And we're just going to find ourselves lengthening forward over the legs. So draping here and closing that space in the body. If you've got your block, you can place your block onto your bolster or your support and just support your head in that forward position. And it might be that your block is lower down or higher up. It might take a little bit of finding of the right space for it. But wherever is good for you will work. Widen your knees if you need to. Relax the arms, the back of the neck, the center of the body, the backs of the legs. And just breathe for a few moments here. If you're not comfortable at all here, you don't have to fold all the way down. You can be a little bit higher up and simply drape forward and allow your head to be carried by the neck and the shoulders, but in a kind of forward folding-ish way. Some nice deep breaths. When you're ready, preparing to move by drawing your belly muscles in ever so slightly, using the hands on top of your support to gently ease yourself upright again. And we're going to move from here into relaxation. And I know we've been doing some nice relaxed deep breathing, but Manipura chakra is one of those energy centers that can be easily overstimulated or overused if your life is hectic, if you're always on the go, if you're always busy, if you're always drawing on that energy in the center of the body, you can leave yourself feeling fatigued and depleted. And so these restorative poses and relaxation are replenishing that energy and allowing you to fight another day strong, like warriors. So you can use your bolster underneath the backs of your knees for relaxation, or a rolled up blanket or some cushions. But I'd recommend getting a blanket for relaxation as well, which I'm just off to do, because you will have cooled down in the course of our restorative practice. And being warm is obviously important on these cooler winter nights or autumnal nights, but also because it's associated the heat that we need for Manipura to be happy. So when you're ready, bringing yourself into the relaxation pose of your choice, whether it be with the knees over the block, bolster, or cushions or not. Make sure your feet are on the floor. And if you want to, when you come down to resting on the floor here, gently roll your head from one side to the other, releasing any tension from the back of the neck. And if you need to, you can bend your knees into your chest to give your knees a little bit of a stir or a little bit of a wiggle from side to side. If that helps you to bring your body into a comfortable position for relaxation. So take some time to wriggle out, make any adjustments you need to make. And when you're ready, begin to find your way into Shavasana, the feet wide, the arms released away from the body with the palms turned upwards, or if you prefer, the elbows bent with the hands resting
onto the abdomen as long as the arms feel supported by the floor. When you've found your sweet, comfortable spot, your sweet spot, closing the eyes. And take a moment to feel how your body feels now as the result of your practice. And do just a quick mental comparison with how it felt at the beginning of the class. So you might feel vibrant, energetic. You might feel softened and relaxed. You might feel all sorts of things. And so taking your time here to notice the effects. Then when you're ready, taking a deep breath in and sighing out through the mouth. Repeating 3 more times. A deep breath in. As you exhale, let all of your effort go. A deep breath in. As you exhale, relax your muscles. A deep breath in, and then surrender down into your mat. Allow your breath to fall into quietness, falling back into a more natural rhythm. Take your awareness into your forehead, feel it soften and spread. Feel the area around your eyes relaxing. Your mouth, tongue, jaw releasing. Become aware of the back of the body. Feel all the parts of the back of your body that are in contact with some support. The back of the head, the shoulders and shoulder blades, backs of the arms, hands, buttocks, the legs and the heels of the feet. Experience that sensation of contact between your body and the floor or the props. Move your awareness to all the parts of the back of the body that are not in contact with the floor or props. The back of the neck, the wrists, perhaps the low back, perhaps some space at the backs of the legs, the Achilles, and the soles of the feet. Experience the sensation of space between your body and the floor. Allow the whole of the body to feel heavy, warm, supported, and releasing down. Move your awareness to the front of your body. Become aware of the space over you and around you. The touch of air on your face. The movement of your clothes on your skin as you breathe. The weight and the warmth of the blanket over you. the sensation of holding space in the palms of the hands, or the hands resting on the body. Move your awareness to your breathing and gently deepen your breath. As you inhale, drawing in light, energy, and harmony. As you exhale, releasing tension, fatigue, and discomfort. As you inhale, drawing in courage, confidence, your inner sunshine. As you exhale, releasing tiredness, fear, anger. Breathing in peace. Breathing out love. Allow your breath to fall in this rhythm for the remainder of your relaxation, softening a little deeper with every exhalation. Gently begin to deepen your breath, bringing your awareness back to your hands and your feet, wiggling your fingers and toes, rolling your wrists and ankles. When you feel ready, take a long deep breath in and stretch the body in any way that feels good, maybe yawning to stretch the face. In your own time, just when you're ready, draw your knees into your chest, hold them towards you. Make any movements that feel good, maybe a swaying side to side or rocking and rolling, circling, whatever works for you. Maybe it's the head that's moving, maybe it's both. When you're ready, take your time, just curl up on one side. And again, in your own time, find your way to any comfortable seated position.
And if you can, keeping your eyes gently closed for a moment longer, resting your hands over that center space just underneath the rib cage. Manipura is the seat of confidence and courage in the body. It's also very much the I, the ego, in the statements I am. So we maybe finish our practice by saying to ourselves, I am strong, I am capable, I am enough. And then when you're ready, bringing your hands to the center of your chest, taking your chin towards your chest, smiling gently to yourself. And in your own time, raising your head and opening your eyes. Thank you for joining me in this practice for Manipura Chakra. I hope that you found it useful. Next week, we're doing the heart chakra, and I look forward to working with you again then. Namaste.